It's officially spring as of 2 weeks ago, but we still have snow on the ground and the temperatures are still rather cold. At night, it's about 1 degree, and in the day, it's +2 or +3. So we still have to keep the wood stove going every day.
I am stuffing the stove before I go to bed. And before you start to put wood inside your fire, you want to make sure you have a really, really good fire going before you start to put huge logs in there. If the fire is not going strong, it's going to snuff out the fire and it's not going to light well. So you just want to make sure that there's a good fire going. Then you stuff it packed with wood and then you close it up. Welcome friends, welcome to another video. As you can see, I'm sitting right next to my wood stove. It's about 8:30. My kids are already in bed. And I am here to talk about the wood stove. That's why I'm sitting here. And in today's video, I want to give you some tips on how to stop wasting your firewood. I watch loads of homesteading video, and the biggest complaint I see is that their wood stove is not heating up their house completely and it's just wasting a lot of wood. So this is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Now, when we moved into this house, right there we had a antique wood stove, which is about 115 years old, and it was cast iron and very heavy. It takes 4 people to move this stove. It was about half the size of that, but it was deep, like it didn't hold big piece of wood, so it was hard for us to keep that fire going continuously. It was just like a wood guzzler. The first year we went through like 6 cords of wood, which was ridiculous. You know what I mean? So, and we couldn't keep the fire burning all night, and so we were cold by the time the morning come. But if you watch my video on this wood stove, how we came across this wood stove, you will know that this is a new wood stove which we just got at the beginning of the winter season, just before winter came in. And so we were very, very happy and pleased with this wood stove. This wood stove is very efficient. It works amazing. It uses less wood. It heats up the whole house, and we're so happy with it. And as you can see, it's much bigger. It holds lots of wood. It holds huge pieces of log, and it keeps the fire burning all night. And even during the day, you don't need to put a lot of wood in. So what kind of wood stove do we have? We have a Blaze King wood stove. So it's from the company called Blaze King. I researched it because if you watch my video, you would see I talk about how I came across this video, how I came across this really big stove for really nothing at all. The guy gave it to me for nothing at all. But when I did the research and everything like that, I realized it's a Blaze King, and it's a very, very efficient stove, and it's less than 5 years old. So it's pretty new and it's very efficient. The box is very big. So I wrote down the width and the depth of the box. So the width of the box is 2 feet 0.25 centimeter, and the depth is 1 feet 16 centimeter. So it's pretty big, and it's able to hold a very large pieces of wood. And I can't even get the piece of wood out. This is the size of wood that we put inside at night. We put like 4 pieces like this, and it keeps the fire going until like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's very heavy, guys. So this is how we keep the wood stove really going, and it heats up the entire house. We also have a fan on the side here, as you can see. We decided to use this big fan because it gets really hot in here and it blows a lot of warm air up the stairs into the bedrooms and across the living room and the dining room and the laundry room. So This is really awesome. The small fan is fine, but it just doesn't blow enough air. And when it gets very hot in here, it's just too hot. You need a bigger fan to blow air. This doesn't burn a lot of electricity, so we don't mind. When the wood stove is not going very strong, we have like two small logs in there. We don't need it, but once we stuff the wood stove for the day, during the day, when it's very cold, or at night, we need to have the fan going because it gets really, really hot. The kitchen gets like 28 degrees and everywhere else just gets like 22, 23, so it's really hot. The wood stove that we have here, it's the Soroco brand, but it's the bigger size of the Soroco, and it burns 11,900 BTU per hour. So it's very, very efficient. How can you stop wasting your wood? Point number one, you need to get a more efficient stove. Like I said, a stove like this, which is bigger, larger, very efficient, would burn less wood and give you more heat and will give you more BTU per hour. You also need to have your doors of your stove very sealed. The first stove we have, the door wasn't sealed very well, and that was one of the problems. The heat was leaking out of it. It wasn't getting a tight seal, so the stove itself wasn't keeping enough heat. So, but in this stove, it has a really nice gasket around it, and it's sealed really well. And when that baby gets hot, it really, really is hot. Point number three is get a larger stove. So a small stove will use more wood and give off less heat, and it would not be able to heat a larger space. But a bigger stove gives off more heat and it's able to heat up a larger square feet. So you're gonna need a bigger stove if you want to heat up your whole house. We have a 3-bedroom house, a living room, dining room, kitchen, piano room, laundry room, small basement, and lots of storage. And we're able to keep this place pretty warm using only this wood stove. That's all. That heats up the entire house really, really nice. Also, by having a larger stove, you'll be able to put more wood inside, and the wood is gonna burn slower, and so you will get more heat and you would save on wood. So that's one of the advantage of having like a huge stove like that. You can really, really pack it with big log. So we cut our logs in just half, and then we just stuff it in there. And if we're going out somewhere for a long period of time, we put in one big log that is not cut at all, and it just keeps the fire going and keeps the house warm. And the last point is how to stop wasting wood is, if you have a stove and you want to retain and maintain more heat, you need to put fire bricks inside your stove. So this stove is efficient and works really well, but inside our stove, we also line it with fire bricks. The entire stove is lined with fire bricks. Fire bricks are $4 per brick. I think we have like 16 fire bricks in there inside the stove, all lined up and compact, really nice. And it fits the stove. 16 blocks fits inside the stove properly, and it still have enough room to fit all the wood inside. So when you're buying the fire bricks, buy the thinnest fire brick if you have a small stove, and if you have a really big one, you can buy one a little bit more medium size, so to fit inside. So we just bought the regular fire brick, I think the biggest size we bought. Yeah, the biggest size. I think there are 3 different sizes. We bought the biggest one because our stove is really big, and we thought the fire brick the fire brick maybe takes up about an inch or more. So if there's no fire brick in there, it can even hold bigger pieces of logs. So yeah, it's loaded with fire bricks, and so it gives off more heat and it keeps the stove stay hotter for a long period of time. Sometimes the fire burns out completely and we come downstairs in the morning and the stove is pretty hot, and inside the stove is still simmering with coals, and you can just put more logs in there and get the fire going again. So this is how you can save and stop wasting your firewood if you live in a homestead or you have a small house that doesn't have heat and you're relying on a wood stove to heat up your entire house. These are some simple tips that can really, really help you. And if you use those tips, you're going to have a warm, toasty house and you will not have to complain. Our house is so hot that we were thinking of adding on like a water box behind of it maybe next year, or even adding like a vent that goes down into the basement for our cellar to put some warm air in there. So these are some things that we can do. We have to put a hole into the floor and run a pipe going inside there, because this area where I'm sitting here in my kitchen is super toasty and the kitchen goes up to 28, sometimes 30 degrees. So it's really, really hot and it's really efficient. So we are really happy and pleased with this stove, and hopefully we can find another one next year to add to the barn or to put in any other small buildings that we're going to put on the property. So guys, this is the video. Thanks for watching and welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. Remember guys, you are beautiful. You are more powerful than you think you are. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.